was it just flirtation with Will?
No, it wasn't.
You lied?
Yes.
Because?
Because it's none of their business.
That's okay?
Yes.
I have to go do my homework.
Wait, Grace. Give me a hug.
Mrs. Florek, thank you for taking time out to answer questions today.
You're welcome.
Were you aware of any corruption in your campaign?
No, not at all.
No involvement directly or indirectly in anything that could be construed as voter fraud?
Not even close. I wouldn't stand for it, and it didn't happen.
Well, thank you. You've been most understanding today.
Do you want some popcorn?
Mrs. Florek, the morning of your election, do you remember a television interview your husband did with Mandy Post?
We did many interviews.
Let me refresh your recollection. In this one, your husband, our governor, said, and I quote, "As far as I'm concerned, you can take it to the bank. Alicia Florek is going to be the next state's attorney for Cook
I
County."
appreciated his optimism.
I'm sure. But shouldn't we be concerned about his certainty
He was being supportive.
or predictive?
He was reading the same polls as everyone else.
Peter wasn't just reading the polls, was he?
I think I answered that.
Are you familiar with the Help America Vote Act?
Vaguely.
Let me fill you in. It's a program where states get money to buy and maintain voting machines, money that goes directly to each state's governor. So Peter had control over what machines were purchased, where they were stored, how they were maintained. Can you see my cause for concern when your husband was in charge of safeguarding the very voting machines which wound up handing you this election?
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are strong indications that this election was undermined by serious and systematic fraud with help potentially from the highest levels. But the only way we can find out for sure is to conduct a full canvass of all the machines in the suspect precincts.
Can you excuse us?
Did you try to help me win the election?
No.
Did you try to help me win the election by cheating?
Are you
They
serious?
brought up the Help America Vote Act, said you were in control of the voting machines.
I don't control the voting machines. I don't get anywhere near the voting machines. I knew I had to stay clear of them, which is why I appointed an independent monitor. Now, if you want to know more, go talk to him.
Who?
Ernie Nolan. What?
You tried to bribe me before I ran.
Well, that's not good. It has nothing to do with me.
So, you oversee the Help America Vote program for Peter, but you're totally independent.
If you're worried I threw the election to you, don't be.
Good. Will you testify to that effect?
No.
Why not?
When you were contemplating running, Mrs. Florek, I offered to help you, but you weren't interested. So why would I help you now? Anyway, I found Prady's men much more open to donations.
You donated to Prady's campaign?
Yes.
You controlled the voting machines and you gave to Prady's campaign.
No comment.
You put this hacking device in the machines for Prady? But Prady lost.
Yes, because your campaign cheated better than his.
We didn't cheat.
Oh, good. Then this weekend should put things right. You should have taken my money. So now you won't be SA.
When Rose first started with us, she was just coming out of the hospital.
It's been a better situation. I can always depend upon her to help me. I'm home, and that makes me happy.
We're here to get her back into her routine and be able to live the life she wants to live. It's an honor to be trusted with that responsibility.
to offer? Know what we have in common?
We talked to our doctors about treatment with Xarelto. Me, when I had a blood clot in my leg that could have traveled to my lungs.
That's why I took Xarelto too.
Xarelto is proven to treat and help reduce the risk of DVT and PE blood clots.
I took Xarelto for AFib, an irregular heartbeat that can lead to a stroke from a blood clot. Xarelto is proven to reduce the risk of stroke in people with AFib, not caused by a heart valve problem.
Hey, well, I'm glad we got together.
For people with AFib currently well managed on warfarin, there is limited information on how Xarelto and warfarin compare in reducing the risk of stroke.
I tried warfarin before, but the blood testing routine and dietary restrictions had me off my game.
Tell me about it. Let's see. Call clinic or blood clinic? That's a tough one.
Not this time.
That was Xarelto.
Anything else?
I'll have another Arnold Palmer.
Make mine a Kevin Nealon. Really, Brian?
Hey, safety first.
Like all blood thinners, don't stop taking Xarelto without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of a blood clot or stroke while taking.
And you can
Celebrate the 50th anniversary of the ACM Awards. Coming to you live with superstar appearances by the biggest award winners of all time. Taylor Swift, Miranda Lambert, Brooks and Dunn reunited, Kenny Chesney, Reba, George Strait, plus Florida Georgia Long, Dirk Bentley, Jason Aldean, Eric Church, Keith Urban, and the once-in-a-lifetime performance by the one and only Garth Brooks. And that's not all. Lucas Blake hosts Country Music's Party of the Year. The ACM's 50th anniversary live. CBS next Sunday.
You are the chairman of Help America Vote, Mr. Nolan.
Yes, I am.
And you canvassed the touchscreen voting machines in Cook County.
Yes.
Did you find any more of these hacking devices, these man-in-the-middle devices?
I did. 40.
40 devices. 40 machines compromised. Even if just a couple of hundred votes were changed in each, that would be more than enough for Mrs. Florek to steal this election.
That is correct.
So you would advocate for a recount in those precincts?
Well, of course I would.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Nolan, in your meeting this morning with Mrs. Florek, did you say that you wouldn't have swung the vote for her because she turned down a bribe that you offered?
Excuse me?
Shall I repeat the question?
No, I did not.
You didn't suggest that if the recount is approved, the vote would swing to Brady through your machinations?
No.
You didn't say these words? You should have taken my money. Now you won't be SA?
I said no such thing. As a matter of fact, it was Mrs. Florek who dragged me back to her office where she hoped to pay me off, so I'd advise against a recount.
My goodness. Is that true, Mrs. Florek? Did you really say that?
Put her under oath, then ask her.
This isn't a court of law, is it, Mr. Boxer?
It is not.
Well, let's have Mrs. Florek take the stand. Let's hear what she has to say. Please. Good morning, Mrs. State's Attorney.
Good morning, Mr. Randolph.
Are Mr. Nolan's accusations against you true?
No, they are categorically false.
Hey.
Okay, can we all keep the comments to ourselves? But isn't this a classic he said, she said, ma'am?
No.
Why? Why is that? Why should this panel take you at your word, Mrs. Florek?
Because I recorded the meeting.
Objection, Your Honor. This is beyond the pale.
Well, perhaps Mr. Perillo can specify how this is beyond the pale.
It is a secret wiretap.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but a one-person consent has been held constitutional by the Illinois Supreme Court. People versus Clark. Mr. Perillo? Thank you. So, do you have the recording with you?
I do.
Ah, how resourceful of you. Shall we hear it?
When you were contemplating running, Mrs. Florek, I offered to help you, but you weren't interested. So why would I help you now? Anyway, I found Brady's men much more open to donations.
Yes, I can understand why he doesn't want to hear it.
You donated to Brady's campaign?
Yes.
You controlled the voting machines and you gave to Brady's campaign.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I am as outraged by this as anyone. This proves that the chairman of Help America Vote, the organization that maintains the voting machines, is corrupt. There has to be a recount.
Not if Mrs. Florek is blameless.
Blame isn't the issue, justice is. The people deserve election results they can trust.